So when I finished this garage, I felt a noticeable transition in my mentality and my feelings about basically what I think about what I'm going to do next in my future and stuff like that. I love to reinvent myself all the time. That's what this I've done with this channel a lot. Is I've honestly given up on this channel so many times, but I keep putting up videos whenever I find things that's worth sharing, and basically that puts me in a constant mentality of only putting up videos that are valuable and not putting up videos just for the sake of videos. And but I have been going through a transition of like, what am I going to do next? Because this garage reaching this point puts me into a middle point of, after I've been on in a survival mode, now I feel like I've got some footing and I'm not worried about survival anymore. And it's such a hard effort in this system that we're in to be free from captivity, free from debt, because it seems like this system is kind of geared towards getting in debt first and getting what you need, and then try to get out of debt by working whatever job for 30 years. I don't know, that's kind of sums it up in a nutshell. But what I've been trying to do is get put forth the effort to be free from the captivity, rent and mortgages and debt, including cars. And like, I know it's very hard to do, so I don't blame anybody for, but it's the effort. And I compare it to the children of Israel being in captivity, enslaved, and wanting to be free, and it's a takes years of this process to figure out how to become free. So I know we do have a lot of freedoms. They're not all gone, but it's slowly being eroded away, and sometimes we get used to our captivity and we don't really notice it until it kind of kicks us in the butt, and then we're like, wait, what's this? What are we trying to do? So every time I try to be an entrepreneur, start a business, or reinvent myself, create my own path, I realize that the system doesn't allow for that very well. It's not very good. So it's just a very, very hard effort to get out. And I'm not completely satisfied yet, but I'm actually at that point, starting to reinvent my direction. So, which brings me to a point. I wanted to bring up Aircrete again. It's a kind of a cement mix that has a lot of air bubbles in it. So basically, it's like this hardened foam, and it's great for installation and building with, and it's super cheap. And I came across this probably a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and I was very excited about it, and I started researching it even more. And so as I did, I was searching for other people who are kind of heading off that frontier, or that new invention, or discovery, and people who are trying to change the housing so that it's affordable, so we don't have to go into big debt and kill us for the rest of our life financially. So there's been a couple people that I've run across on YouTube that I could tell are doing that, and one of them is Aircrete Harry. He has a channel, and I've seen a lot of channels of people using Aircrete, but he's taking it to that next level and even further, as he's researching the best ways of making it, the best methods, being an entrepreneur himself, and I recognize that he's doing that. And so I was attracted to what he was doing, and he is out living in his dome homes that he's making, and also teaching other people how to do it, and for real cheap. And I really love what he's doing, and because we have to have people like this in to become free. This mentality of, we don't need more jobs, we don't need to get a raise, we need to reduce our housing and our basic needs, the costs of those things. We need to reduce all of those things. So it's so expensive to like get a house, and there's a lot of restrictions in our building codes and stuff like that that prevent us from having multiple dwelling places for various reasons. And so housing is a huge part of it. And so Aircrete is just one thing, but this guy, he's it reduces it eliminates using wood. And I used a lot of wood in this, but it's all repurposed. But all the while I'm thinking, we don't need to use wood anymore, and we don't need to be cutting down trees so much, and we could be using alternative methods and just repurpose other things that we already have. If we want to use wood, just repurpose it. We don't need to keep doing what we're doing. So, and that's just one aspect of our life. And so I start researching. All my energy is going into discovering free energy, and where can we obtain energy on our own without having to depend on the grid. And I discovered that energy is everywhere. All you need is a multimeter, and this will teach you so many things, that energy is everywhere. It's amazing. And just one thing that just lately I got an anonymous email from somebody, and he suggested take an LED bulb, or not bulb, but a light emitting diode. That's what they call it, LED. So take one of these things, put a multimeter on it, positive and negative leads on it, and then put this into the sun and see if there's a charge, or see if it registers any energy in there, and there is. And after I got that email, I was like, you know what, from the research that I've done, I bet that's probably true, because that LED, a lot of them are made from glass, silicon, and just two metal plates in there. And I've already done experiments with that and made a flashlight out of cement. So there's things that we don't learn in schools, and mostly this information just gets out by word of mouth, and you can just do your own experiments on that. But I'm gonna do another video on that. But there's energy everywhere, and now that we know where we could find energy, which is everywhere, we could just figure out how to multiply it. And Nikola Tesla knew how to multiply it. Said you could multiply it up to 1,000,000 times or more. I mean, it's just, you just got to figure out a Tesla coil multiplies volts, a transformer that you see everywhere multiplies volts. From a smaller source, it increases the amperage, or the lowers the voltage, or whatever way they want to go. So there's all this information, the potential of the stuff that we have that's not mainstream knowledge or whatever. But I'm also trying to trying to research alternatives to our toilet system and septics and sewer systems. And so I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to get rid of human waste. And I know it's a topic that may not feel that important, but once your toilet goes down and you experience, like, the sewer goes down or something, you can't use your toilet, then you suddenly realize how dependent we are upon it, and how many codes of sanitation and stuff like that prevent us from having more living space or living places or dwelling places just because of sanitation. So I've been doing a lot of research on how to alternatives with that, and I've been finding some amazing ways of doing this. And I feel like we could be off grid so fast if just the general population knew what the alternatives were. So I wanted to mention Aircrete Harry and his he's really good with this, and he has a lot of information just on alternative building methods, specifically with Aircrete right now. And I could tell he's interested in other methods as well, but he's focusing on that right now. But I'm doing similar things, just focusing in on different things, and that's how we could all be find a mission in our life and a calling to figure out what we're interested in, and then as we all find each other and as we present our research and our knowledge that we found, then we could be free from so many things so fast. So we don't need to worry about having a, working towards a retirement and being a slave all of our lives trying to get enough money just to retire. We could just reduce, our efforts could be reducing our living expenses, our housing, our utilities, and all of those can be reduced so much that it'll become within arm's reach to anybody that wants it. So that's the goal. Anyway, that's the spirit behind Extreme Budget Channel, and but I have more things I'm going to be doing, including my podcast channel. So if you're single, or if you know somebody who's single and you just don't know why, then that book that I wrote in that channel, I don't have my book on me, but it'll give you some ideas of what's going on, and it's not an easy thing, but once you understand it, I think it'll increase forgiveness and kind of diffuse some situations, I think. And I have many stories about that. That's why I made a podcast channel thing. So go check that out if you want. I'll put the link down below. And God bless. There's some exciting things coming. Just be faithful and trust that God has a plan. And us as children and our missions are all a part of that plan. So God bless. We'll see you in the next video.